Welcome to the Imperator Rome Abridged Commentary, part 0.75. And that means this isn't quite part 1 yet, and you may already know what exactly I'm getting at with that. Basically, I'm going to tell you what happened when I played as Epirus in Imperator Rome, and more specifically, why I won't be playing as Epirus by the end of this video. Now, Epirus is a more standard faction than some of the other things I've attempted in this game, in that it's actually listed as one of the recommended factions the game tells you to play as, and you have a couple of advantages. You start with a legion of 2,000 troops on top of your levy, and your levy isn't just 2,000 troops, although it's not far off either. As the campaign starts, I was looking around at my neighbours. What we need to know is who we can kill without any repercussions. The guys to our south are part of the Macedonian Empire, so we don't want to go in that direction since they're going to have more number than us for sure. This island next to our territory though, well, they're on their own apart from Apollonia up to the north, so that pair of territories can likely be taken down, although because it's two factions they will have at least 4,000 troops, which you need to keep in mind. On my side though, the other faction to our north is allied to me from the start of the game, so we may be able to use that. I immediately began planning to start a war as early as possible to get those early gains. Once we are ready, we can whip out our enormous levy. Yes, we've now got 3,000 troops up from the usual 2,000. It takes quite a lot of population to get above the 2,000 minimum threshold, which is why we haven't gone very far above it. But we should be able to outnumber the enemy. Our two enemies have 2,000 each. I'm going to have my 2,000 strong legion see off the enemy up top, while the 3,000 strong levy attacks the island I'm going for. In the meantime, we do have to deal with a bit of politics right here, because some other guy wants to be king. We have the option to let him be king, or we can keep the famous Pyrrhic as king, which I'm going to go for added historicalness, and that's going to cause all kinds of political chaos, of course. But in the meantime, we win both the battles we go for right away, and that's going to be that really. We have to kill them a couple more times to finish them off, and then stand around for ages to take their territory, but all of that can be done in due time. We have more news from this power struggle front. We end up having the option to simply get the other guy killed. The thing is, the other guy is like the supported candidate, and Pyrrhic is the lesser supported candidate. We're going to keep Pyrrhic just to be cool, but yes, it's all out the window in terms of our loyalty and stuff. Look at how many notifications I have up the top. Well, I'll probably sort them out at some point. In the meantime, we do get that war squared away. We finish off the enemy and take both of those territories. Now we see an example there of the jank that comes in with the levy system. We actually gained 2,000 extra troops by taking the territory at the top, whereas we didn't gain any troops by taking the territory nearby off the coast. And that's because the one up top is in Illyria, a different province in the game's logic, and provinces have separate levies, meaning you get another minimum levy size added to your army. Kind of weird. It seems like such an oversimplification for such an important thing. Seems weird to be saying they've oversimplified something in a paradox spreadsheet simulator type game. But this is the one thing that kind of matters. It seems like it should just be based on the population of all of your regions combined. This province system and a minimums system really just throws everything out the window. The smaller you are, the bigger of a deal that becomes. Well, at least we've now exploited the system by taking only a tiny amount of territory. We've expanded our military capacity by 66% in terms of our levy anyway. Maybe we can use that to our advantage. Although right now, there are no obvious targets. We need to come up with something. For that reason, I'm looking over to Italia, where I've already started grabbing a claim on the closest of the factions. There is some diplomacy to consider here, and the fact that Rome is getting involved. Rome's conquering their way down into the area. That probably means we want to get in there as fast as possible. But there are going to be some delays to any Italian invasions. First, we need a fleet big enough to take all of our guys over there, which was not what we had at the moment, as it turned out, so we start making a fleet. But we also get dragged into a war up north because our allies are at war with the Illyrians. I decided to go up and help them out somewhat with this. We want to keep our allies here and alive as much as possible. There's also the matter of civil war. We've got something brewing here. It's nice that it tells you when the civil war's going to happen. Perhaps everyone's just murmuring about it and being very specific about the dates on which it's going to happen, so we know when the uprising will occur. Or do we? It actually doesn't occur for this reason. We have this political event where we can get somebody killed in jail. I think they were in some way part of the civil war preparations, because the civil war goes away. At the time I didn't really know why it had gone away and just thought, well, that's nice, maybe somebody changed their mind about something in the various pools of infinite stats of all the invisible characters. Well, it was probably because we did something to that guy in jail. Whatever the case, the civil war is avoided. Instead, we fight this normal war. We go on up and engage with the Illyrians a bit, and we get a nice easy battle that we win. So that's helped out, probably. We start taking back this territory, but as we'll see in a second, the war just ends at this stage. Convenient because it's a war that I don't really care about, so thanks guys for making peace, whatever you did to get out of that one. We go back and now we can get to business. We need to invade Italy. By the time I was done with all that stuff with the Illyrians, the Romans had taken over more territory, and it's looking like they're not going to be stopped. They clearly have number, so they can attack as many people as they want. They're in that situation. We need to get in there and stop them taking absolutely everything so that we can take something. And for that reason we use our new navy to ship a bunch of guys into the heel of the boot of Italy. The faction that was here was probably already dead by the time I arrived. Their army likely went off to fight with Rome and died. They were at war with Rome while I was invading them. So we arrived just in time really to steal a little bit of territory before Rome gobbles up everything. Well, there you go, that's another block gained. Annoying to have territory split by the sea like this, but there's no other good option. Also need to stop them blockading my ports by the looks of things. To actually win this war, we'll need to go towards the toes and take out the allies of whoever it is I'm conquering over there. The Romans are currently doing the same thing, so we're going to be teaming up with the Romans a bit as we move forwards. But much more important than any of that, we have a war declaration on our hands. It's Macedonia. We're in enormous trouble, of course, because Macedon and their vassals have the big number. We have the small number. So the question is there anything we can do about that? I think the answer is no. We're limited in what we can achieve militarily. We can't pull off some kind of victory with a smaller number. We don't have that option. Well, you can a little bit if you have a good general or a river defense or something. Overall though, we're in enormous trouble. What I need to do now is take most of the units moving forwards and bring them home. I did leave some guys here to try and finish off the war, with the Romans doing most of the work of course. By the time we're back, things are already going poorly, because the Macedonian vassal states that were on our border could just invade straight away. So our capital is under siege, first by 4,000 troops, soon to be 6,000. We only have 4,500, so it's difficult for us to deal with just this, and this isn't even the Macedonians' wider empire, it's just our neighbours. So now what can we do? Well, I thought I'll go and attack those vassal states. But while I was doing that, my allies came down and started attacking the siege of my capital. I also brought back the remaining 2,000 troops from Italy. So with all of this stuff together, I thought maybe we can save the capital. The attack made by our allies is a suicide attack for all intents and purposes. They had no number, no morale, not quite sure what they were doing, but it does have an impact. It does take away a bit of the enemy's number and morale. So we can quickly rush on in there and start another battle with our higher number and higher morale. Thus the capital is saved, for now at least. We've taken out those vassal states, and we can even chase them down and kill them more times. This would leave us open to start occupying their territory. But of course it's not going to be as simple as that. We need to pay attention to what the Macedonians proper are doing, and what they were doing while I was doing all this is killing my ally, which they're just about done with. Now they're starting to threaten my borders up here. Seeing this, I decided to go back and try and come up with some kind of defense against them. This led to a period of dancing around really, because I didn't really want to engage them. I wanted to be engaged by them, so I got a defender's advantage for being on the mountains. They eventually started moving back north, allowing me to come up to my border. Well, not quite my border, they've taken Apollonia off of us. But then I do get that mountainous defense and a river crossing defense here as well by the looks of things. It's an ambiguous battle where it's not clear if we're going to win. We don't have the number, but we did have terrain and a better commander on our side. So how does that turn out? Well, poorly. We do lose the battle, and as our number there drops, that number is gone for good. It's going to be much easier for the enemy to regenerate number than it will be for us. So that's a decisive defeat. Our other war, by the way, is still going. Nobody's fighting anybody anymore. I don't really know why it's still going. We probably just can't quite get peace because some fort somewhere hasn't been taken. We're in a pretty bad situation overall, though, with the Macedonians now coming at us from above and below. There are still more enemy vassal states that are marauding around as well, and every single region vassal state will be able to throw 2,000 extra number into the battle, of course, meaning an empire with lots of vassals is disproportionately strong. We are able, though, to defend our capital for the second time when a group of 2,000 troops attacks. We were only on half morale, but luckily we had the number to deplete their morale fast enough to win. Another propaganda victory, maybe. To the people of our capital, it must seem like things are going okay. We keep winning battles nearby. But the war as a whole doesn't look so hot. Some good news, though. We are able to end the other war and take some more territory. So there we go. We've got this little patch over here. And we can immediately make use of this place. If we throw in a governor, we can then raise the levy of these territories. Again, because they're in a different province in the game's logic, that means they have a different minimum troops cap, meaning that's 2,000 troops at least, and indeed it is 2,000 troops. So with them we can pull them over using a few ships and reinforce our beleaguered mainland position. Is 2,000 enough to do anything? Well, technically no, given the numbers the enemy have, but it might do something, and indeed they arrive just in time to participate in this battle. The enemy come down with some 7,000 troops, and our 2,000 go in to reinforce the battle at the last second, equalizing the numbers and allowing us to just about pull off a victory. Our beacon of hope right now is this white peace imminent thing at the top. I think if Macedonia can't take any of my territory for a while, or something, then the war will automatically end. I don't know if they have to win the war to get that to go away, or if they just have to progress the war. There's some possible way we can get away with this if the enemy take a really long time to invade us, which they have been doing so far. Their troops are all over the place doing various things. They keep coming in and then walking off again. And here we are grabbing a couple of victories in battle. That's going to look good for us. More enemies defeated. Still not enough enemies defeated. There's probably enough stuff just nearby to kill us. And of course we haven't even seen like the Macedonian main forces come down to attack us properly yet. It felt at this stage like I might get away with all this. I don't, by the way, which is why this isn't part 1 of the campaign, but for now things were looking okay. What I thought I could do is actually try and take back some of our territory. With the enemy fleeing all over the place, I was able to go up towards Apollonia and start recapturing the fortress there. A few small armies came over to try and resist, but nothing too much, and here we are grabbing another victory in battle. We'll be getting some defensive buffs here because Apollonia technically has a river in it, and in the Paradox game logic, even though the enemy don't have to cross the river to attack me, we get the river defense bonus anyway. In this case, it would actually favour the enemy to attack while the river's behind us, but let's not get into the military strategy of this. We just need to look at the number, and the number seems to be causing us to win some battles. And if you look at another number down towards the bottom right, we're technically winning the war somehow. We've got positive war score. With that in mind, I thought maybe we can piece out of this thing. Unfortunately, the AI seemed to realize that the war score was lying. They wouldn't accept any deal, even if I gave them pretty much all of my territory. I think they really want to pursue this war because they have knowledge of their own strength at this stage. They want to have a decisive engagement first. And eventually, it happens. Some stuff comes over with more number. I don't think it was even Macedonia's main forces. It was just some of their vassals wandering around. And we do get decisively defeated. We have to fall back, and the enemy then pursue us deeper into our territory, which soon causes things to get worse. There's now a big army taking our capital, and a small army killing my smaller armies. That's pretty much the end of that for our campaign. We can't do anything now. It depends what happens as this war comes to a close. We've still got the white peace imminent thing, so I still had hope that maybe the war will end on a technicality before they can conquer me, and it will all be fine. But here comes Rome as well. So even if we had put a load of money into improving our relationship with the Macedon Empire and avoided the big number coming from the right, the big number is coming from the left now. I don't know if it's possible to placate both empires, but being vaguely in between them means our starting position may have betrayed us a little bit here. It did say this was a normal difficulty campaign, but perhaps you're supposed to play the politics in a more pro-Macedonia way to get away with all this. I started doing some desperate peace treaties, trying to give anything and everything over to the Macedonians to make Epirus survive somehow. They weren't very interested still, and I actually can't offer them vassalship. I thought maybe they'll just let me be their client state. You're not allowed to offer that if they haven't taken your capital for some reason. So, cut to a bit later when things are even worse, but at least I've now lost my capital. That means I can put vassalization on the table, and with that, plus giving them almost all of my territory, Macedonia was willing to end the war without finishing me off. So we have done it, a diplomatic triumph. We didn't lose the campaign technically, we are still going. We're now a client state of Macedon with a grand total of 1 territory. It's just that island there. But of course, thanks to the minimum levy count, we actually didn't lose that much of our military capacity despite losing 95% of our stuff. Well, that's that, I suppose. At least we've screwed over the Romans because their invasion of my territory in Italia was cancelled by Macedon taking everything there. I'm sure some sort of giant war between the superpowers will stir up as a result, and we'll be on Macedon's side, probably the losing side as things would go. We're not going to find out. There is still, theoretically, potential in this campaign. We still exist. Maybe we could come back from being a vassal state and wait for Macedonia to break up or something and get some of our old lands back. Something like that is plausible, but we're not going to play on to find out in this case. I decided I might as well start again. And for the next campaign, we're going to stop messing around. Coming soon, Imperator Rome, Part 1, the legendary video in which I start a campaign that does not fail immediately because I selected a faction that has a rather large number. So I hope you join me for that, where we'll see what the game actually has to offer if you don't die within the first couple of hours and you're not constantly losing all of your territory. This could be something new.